Hey there, this is Derek from Pacific Coast Auto in Japan, and we're looking at a Toyota Aristo. This one here, a 2JZ twin turbo version, automatic transmission, as they all are, unless it's been swapped. This one has 186,000 kilometers on the odometer, which is probably pretty close to what the mileage actually is, but it is a mileage unknown version of the car, and I'll talk more on that in a second. The coolant looks good, it looks fine. The oil was drastically low. Whoever owned it previously did not change the oil enough. It looks gummy inside on the dipstick and inside the filler there. I added 1 liter of oil just to be safe for shipping. It's not going to be driven more than every few minutes on and off the boat. And should be safe to ship with 1 liter. We just do that for safety purposes so that no damage occurs. But for now, plan on getting the oil change when you get it in, and probably change the oil a couple of times just to get that gumminess out. Like change the oil and then put some additive into it, drive it for 500 kilometers, change the oil again. Okay, I'm going to switch the engine off here. You can see 186, 480 kilometers on the odometer, but that has been changed. Switch this off. Okay, it has a aftermarket security system. And then part of that aftermarket security system, I believe, is different controls for the folding door mirrors. And you can actually turn it on or off using the folding door mirror switch to set it to either have them fold when you turn the key off or keep them out when you turn the key off. But you can't manually put them in and out anymore. A very weird kind of thing for somebody to modify on their car. I guess someone's tired of pressing that button every time. But, you know, I drive a minivan from 2004, and folding the mirrors in is just a button on mine too. I know on a lot of modern cars it's something that happens automatically, or you can turn it on. Anyway, this isn't a mirror channel. Let's go over to the auction inspection sheet. This is a 97 Aristo V300. The V300 is the twin turbo 2JZ version that everybody wants. You can also get it with a regular 2JZ without turbos. Those are the two engines that you can get, both 3-liter inline 6 cylinders. And boy, is it a great engine in this car. It is very well suited for, I guess, what you would consider a large sedan in Japan, but a medium sedan in North America. These were called the GS300 or GS400. You could actually get them with a V8 in North America, but because of engine displacement rules and because Japan always gets the best things, it came with the 2JZ twin turbo, i.e. the Supra engine here in Japan. It says 186, 448. Oh, before we get into it, this is the first time ever USS Nagoya has done computer printed sheets. Pretty interesting, right? They only did it on one other lane. We bought a number of cars that this day at auction, and only half of them had this computer sheet. So it's like their inspection lane. Maybe they have multiple ones and only one's been upgraded so far. Okay, original pearl white has been in an accident. That's why it's an R grade. The only way you can get an R grade is accidents. Alloy wheels, power steering, power windows, and airbag. Most accidents in Japan are pretty minor because it's very costly to fix a car. So the value or the size of the accident really matters. A smaller accident might get repaired, whereas a larger accident would probably get scrapped fairly quickly here. Sales point is purchased from user. Here's the note on the odometer. It says that this car was at auction before in the year 2000, so when it was a 3-year-old car, and had 14,077 kilometers on the odometer, and it was listed as a mileage unknown car then. And so maybe it was a defect in the first year. Like 3 years, 14,000 kilometers on a brand new car in Japan is pretty normal mileage. And so I don't know, I suspect it's pretty close to this 186 448, and the car doesn't show excessive wear. In fact, it looks like a car with lower mileage than this. So it's a mileage unknown car, has been in a front accident. It says left front inner panel dented, left baffle dented. Let me just show you that. Left side, we're going to touch here. Seems like a very minor accident. You're not feeling anything out there. Coming down here, also feeling fine. I personally wouldn't even consider this to be an accident damaged car. Everything lines up quite well. It's not perfect, but it's in the 90% perfects. 94 to 97, somewhere in there. Okay, so it says marks from this fender being removed. Okay, AU2 on the front bumper. Someone screaming in the park. Okay, it says seat, cigarette burn, and interior is dirty and cigarette burn. There's actually a lot of cigarette burns on the interior, all on the console and seat. If it were my car, I would want to have these things replaced. The seat, the burns aren't so big. On the console, they're pretty big, unfortunately. Steering wheel has a rip. It's a minor one on the stitching. I'll show you that in a sec. Shift knob is peeling. Yeah, I'd replace it if I were you with an OEM one. I don't like most aftermarket shift knobs on an automatic, but it's not as bad on this car because it doesn't have a button on the shifter. Any shifter that has a button from factory, if it's an aftermarket one, it tends to be pretty cheap feeling in my opinion. Rear spoiler less, or like as in rear spoiler removed with question mark. Yeah, the V300, the Vertex edition like this one, comes with a rear spoiler, so I'm not sure how they go spoilerless. It doesn't look like it's been like holes filled, but who knows. Oh, and the body's quite good on this one. I'll show you pretty soon. What else do we have? Rear spoilerless, wheels scratched. They're barely scratched. They are OEM 17s and can be replaced for a good freshening up of the vehicle. And then the hood damper doesn't work. Very small scratches, small dents, and then some repaint sections back here. Okay, so the front bumper AU2 should be scratch and a dent. Now I couldn't really find anything that fits that bill, but there is an area that has some damage, and it's quite a weird style of damage. I'll show you in a sec here. Right here, there's like a gouge out of it with like scratches on the top. Really quite odd. And then the back here says A1 on the back bumper. Okay. It's actually more like an A2 or an A3. Maybe they thought this was dirt, like I did at first. But those are scratches right there. Quite a lot of scratches too. And a little bit of surface rust in and around the scratches. Okay, there's also aftermarket exhaust, which is pretty cool. It is aim gain version. I think it sounds pretty good. You don't want a really loud, I mean, some people do, but I don't want a really loud Aristo. Okay, so let's do the once around here. The car's actually pretty clean considering it's pollen season right now, and all the cars that we have are starting to get covered in a yellow dust. The Aristo's always looked good, in my opinion. The proportions are not ideal, like perfect, but I think they're really good. I really like the back section here. I really like how it has the dual exhaust tips. The 4 headlights and the 4 tail lights was a Lexus thing back then. I think they were copying Mercedes-Benz. I feel like Lexus benchmarked Mercedes-Benz a lot for their early Lexus cars, and this being one of them. If you didn't realize, this was a Lexus in North America and was intended to be it was built to be a Lexus, not like all Lexus. Like in Canada and not in the US, we got a Civic. It was like the Lexus IL, or I can't even remember what it's called anymore. This was years ago. And it was just a Civic that was made to be a Acura. It's kind of not the same thing. This one here is like a Lexus that was made to be a Toyota, so it's got good roots, I guess you could say. So headlights are a little bit faded on both sides. Maybe a little bit more yellow on this side over here. The windshield wipers have a touch of surface rust right here on both of them. Door mirrors have been converted to these ones here that have the signal lens in them. That's not factory. Side panels are great. They do have chip there, but great side panels. I'm loving that. Come down here, all looking good. So the back bumper has some paint cracks here. It has the scratches here that we mentioned, and then a chip over here with a little bit of surface rust in it, just waiting to be touched up with touch-up paint. Coming down this side, looking good. We have a scuff here, just a little one. But yeah, looking quite good for a 25-year-old vehicle. Now I am sad about the interior cigarette burns, but I don't think you can be happier about the exterior on this one. It's looking great. Now, going to the interior. Aristos are great, comfortable vehicles. They're built on the Toyota Crown platform, the JZS. I guess S S platform would be right, because a JZ is in reference to the engine. JZS 161 or the 147 for the earlier model. Okay, all of those work properly. All of this is in excellent condition, no peeling or warping, a little bit of dirtiness right there. Okay, seats. See if you can pick out the cigarette burns. They're pretty minor on the seat, but because there's so many of them, they stand out. Okay, mostly in the bottom bolster. It's like this person had problems with dropping cigarettes. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now the seat. Not really seeing any, but this pattern would blend any of them that there are. And then we got one back here too, 7. One on the cushion here, 8. And then look at this. There's 13 of them right here. Little melted spots. I wonder if this, yeah. Oh, even inside there's more. I didn't open and check. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. What is with this driver? I keep calling it a guy, but maybe it wasn't. But I don't know, probably it was. There are more male smokers and there are more male drivers here in Japan. Cigarette burn right there as well. So, yeah, that is really unfortunate. The auction really would be nice if they said many cigarette burns, which I've seen sometimes. But they didn't use that terminology. Here you get your triple gauges. They look really cool, how they're like backlit, like Indiglo style. Back in the 90s, that was a thing. It looks a little bit dated. You heard it go beep beep beep. I don't know what that is. Also, the FM radio doesn't work, like is not plugged in. It says it can't communicate. See? Has a CD player there, a double DIN with its own little surround piece to allow it to fit in there. Although we know it's been smoked in, it doesn't really smell like it. It does a little bit, but not heavily. It's like the previous owner wasn't a smoker. Oh, this is weird. Okay, that works fine. This has been converted to LEDs. Okay, the AC works, but the wind doesn't blow fully through these vents. So there's some problem with the flapper. It's like you get half the wind that you're supposed to get. Maybe it's coming out somewhere else. Okay. Headliner is a little bit dirty. I wouldn't worry about that too much. Let's pop the trunk so you can see in there. Power seats work. They're multi-way power seats. Nice big doors for the rear here. Allow for very easy entrance and exit. Egress, is that right? I don't know. Okay. Floor mats looking good. Not really much else to say about that, but yeah, I really like the interior of these. They're a very nice, comfortable car. And boy, do they feel good. Not only is the engine good, but the steering is good. The suspension is double wishbones, and a lot of work was made to make this work. The Crowns are a very high volume car in Japan, and they're not particularly cheap either. Has a modification here to have one of those light up plates so you can see some wires poking through and pulled some fluff. Okay, has tie down straps in here, and we open this up, we see no rust or anything bad inside here. Also JBL amp, and I think it's lots of JBL speakers, like 11 or something like that. Okay, so this is the end of the review. If you want an Aristo, I hope this video made it easy for you to tell what's the good parts and what's the bad parts of the Aristo. It's pretty much all good parts. These are fantastic cars. And this one, stock everything basically except for the cigarette burns. Those are aftermarket. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.